Welcome to Photo Finds. I am your host Kevin, and this week we are at Be Our Guest, which is the restaurant in New Fantasyland. And we've seen some exterior shots of this before, but this time what we're going to do is make our way across the bridge and go into this area that looks a little bit like the entrance to the Harry Potter and Universal ride, and have a look once again at the ballroom before there are people in it, and then for some of the front areas, you see some of the sculptures there, before we make our way back this time at night, and we're going to go in and have a meal. So it is cast and annual pass holder in D23 and DVC previews these days. And if you're lucky enough to have a reservation, you can, for one of those preview days, you can show up at the restaurant and just ask to make a reservation kind of on the spot for a few hours later. They've been open some daytimes as well as the evenings, although what we're looking at here is the evening meal. Now, I didn't take a picture of the entire menu. You can find them online. I did want to show you that there are, in fact, kids' meals available. Grilled fish, Mickey meatloaf, and a little less legible down here in the corner, things like chicken nuggets and macaroni and marinara. Now, the restaurant inside is fancy, as you can see here. All of these trappings bespeak a certain kind of luxury, the molding, the crown molding that you see everywhere, these very expensive and ornate chandeliers, as well as the ceiling frescoes. And I did want to focus on the frescoes. So let's take a look close up here, for instance. These babies, or these cherubs, look somewhat advanced in years in some ways, and I kind of wondered if these are Imagineer faces. Also of note, the cherubs are more multiracial than you usually find in European palaces and frescoes in castles. Now, here's what the operation looks like. As you can see, it's fairly busy. There's a large ballroom and quite a number of staff. And something I hadn't known until this time, that the back wall with these large picture windows shows not only a snowy landscape out front or out back, it is actually snowing. This is a projection they put out, and that snow drifts down and sometimes even is blown sideways by imaginary wind. Now, in addition to the ballroom, which is stately and elegant, there's a West Wing section, which, as you can see, has the Prince Adam portrait ripped off to the side, a number of things hanging from the ceilings to make it seem a lot more like a lived-in space, a lot less welcoming. There's that rose, which is dropping its petals one at a time, and that's all done digitally. That's just a projection, as you can see. Some of the damage the beast has done throughout his West Wing area. And I thought I would take a photo of all of the tapestries that we find in this immediate zone, which led me to this one, which, if it looks familiar to you, you might recognize it from this. Now, this is at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in Universal. Now, as you can see by close-up, both of them are essentially the same thing. Don't get too excited, though. These are based on an actual medieval portrait, medieval tapestry, a rather famous one, the Unicorn in Captivity. So it is possible that both of them just happen to reference a very famous tapestry. Of course, I think it is also possible that the Universal one, which will lodge in most people's minds, is being answered by the Disney one, maybe even slashed through, or it's a kind of slashing response that maybe this New Fantasyland is a response to Harry Potter. That's at least one possibility. Now, if you look at the table settings a little more closely, you'll see that the napkins are presented to you as roses, and that's one of the themes of the decorations here inside the castle. Would be remiss if I didn't stop and have an alcoholic beverage in the Magic Kingdom, which is now apparently legal, only at the dinner time. This is a wine that I had with the dinner. And we'll go ahead and show you some of the elements of dinner. This is halfway through the cured meats appetizer, which is meant for two people. There is the shrimp and scallops on a pastry and lobster cream sauce. That was pretty excellent. And there is the pork chop with some macaroni and some good green beans there as well. And then if you've not heard about this yet, the gray stuff is not actually on the menu, nor is it for sale. It's a completely free dessert, but they don't give it out unless you ask, and you're also supposed to be celebrating something, or else they wouldn't bring it to you. It's got to be some kind of special thing, so like a birthday or anniversary or something like that. Now, they do wheel around these dessert carts, and as you can see, they're kind of cupcake heavy or pastry heavy. They're about $4 each, and they come highly recommended. Now, there's yet one more room, which in theory is used for lunch. It's a little bit plainer, as you can see. This kind of decor does match what you would find in a European a hotel, for instance, or a lodge or palace as well, so it's not out of place. I call your attention to this Beauty and the Beast drawing in the side, or not drawing, sculpture over on the side here, moving around like it's a music box. This is a single wooden carving, which is really very impressive when you get right down to it. Unfortunately, some damage to the tile already on your way into this room. There's a closer view of that music box. Now what I thought I would do is capture as well for you the server workstation there, the tapestries as we work our way all the way around the room. Sort of just for posterity's sake, I thought I would go ahead and take flash pictures of all of the tapestries around this room that's open for lunch. Although reportedly this week, some days, all 3 of the rooms have been open for lunch seating, not just the one room. That'll bring us around to the far side, there we go, of the tapestries. And now we're back in the front areas of the castle. This is a tapestry near the restrooms. There's the suits of armor down the hall. They whisper to each other. Apparently there's a hidden Mickey in one of these spear tips, although I didn't go down the hall to investigate. Wasn't able to do that. And there's a stained glass window kind of close to the front, as well as another tapestry actually right around this corner here from the way in / and the way out. Now the Beast Castle is every bit as good as Cinderella Castle, giving you a foreground for fireworks. I thought that was an interesting thing. If you're looking from the bridge, it could be a worthwhile thing to watch for in the evenings. Now I made my way over to Downtown Disney because the Fresh Appeal, the label, the restaurant that was here with Pollo Campero, has changed names to Bodie's All American. You can see the signage now reflects this. This took place last week. So instead of saying Fresh Appeal over here, presumably we'll soon be saying Bodie's All American. Turns out that Bodie's is owned by the same people. Bodie is one of the people who owns it. As Fresh Appeal, they've just changed the name. They might even make it into a chain going forward. The balloon is back, has been back for several weeks. I just haven't been over here to take a photo of it. As you can see, it's got new designs. This is probably a completely different balloon than the one which was here before. Now the Phineas and Ferb thing that lets you take a photo, interact with the digital versions of Phineas and Ferb has gained a topiary. That's new since I was last here. And they're starting to accelerate the work now on what will become Splitsville, although there's still quite a lot going on right behind these rafters. It looks pretty basic inside there. Not a lot is done. Now we have stepped here into DisneyQuest. This is on the 3rd floor into a space that previously wasn't used for much. It was just this little alcove between the 3rd floor landing spot and then the staircase down. But now as you can see, it is the game central station for Wreck-It Ralph. They have several Fix-It Felix machines set up, and these are stand-up arcade machines. I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the decorations they have around the tops and sides of those machines. But let's look and see how they've done the arcade games to make them look like they're beat up and 25 years old. It's all part of the Make It Realistic move with the Fix-It Felix Jr. game. Keeping up with the Wreck-It Ralph theme, we're going to move over to DHS, Hollywood Studios, over at the Magic of Disney Animation, where the meet and greet has changed. Now this is the area that has been used for such things as the Up characters, and pretty much any recent Disney movie is put in here. And as you can see, the waiting area shows us kind of inside that central zone, looking out at several of the screens as though we are inside the video games. And this symbol was visible on several of the panels. I don't remember it from the movie, which I saw and wasn't looking for it at the time. I assume JL is short for John Lasseter, kind of also evoking Underwriters Laboratories, the quality control guys. Some video game inside jokes in that waiting area. Legend of Zelda Missing a Link. And this is that screen where you're looking out into the arcade as though we are behind the arcade game. And then you can meet Ralph and Vanellope in this case with kind of a Sugar Rush background as the backdrop where you can take your photo with them. Now while we're here in DHS, I made my way over to the former Narnia building. This is going to be used soon for the Captain Jack Sparrow meet and greet. And as you can see, they've got not only the blue primer done, but this kind of compass map thing going on as well. And this is that movable map from the more recent movies. And we don't know exactly what's going into the Jack Sparrow exhibit, but when we do, we will let you know what it's like and we'll take you through firsthand. That does it for this week, and we thank you as always for your attention. We'll catch you next time.